We did a reaction to Larry Bird's ultimate historic mixtape. Today, we got 5 times Larry Bird was injured but refused to quit. So this reminds me of something I would do because I get hurt sometimes. It's usually not serious injuries, but let's see if Larry Bird has some serious injuries that he played through still.
You know, to his credit, he gets up and fights through it and goes out there and plays, but he is not
Kevin McGill
right now.
That was his teammate, I believe, on the Celtics.
An athlete that would play with pain the way he does, and an athlete that's so highly self-motivated as Larry Bird.
I think 4 or 5 years you'll think back about what he did, or you just, you're gonna. I think it's one of those things that as the years go by, it'll become bigger and bigger and bigger.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm back in the video.
That scared me for a second.
Once again, we have to talk about Larry Legend, one of my favorite players of all time. And I think even the most casual NBA fan knows Larry Bird in his career was a very tough player, and he overcame tremendous adversity as well as injuries. And I wanted to make a very quick video explaining how tough Larry Bird was and just some of the big-time injuries he overcame. So with that being said, let's get into the video and look at 5 times Larry Bird overcame injuries and absolutely dominated. So the first injury we're going to look at is from 1979, before Larry Bird was even in the NBA. And this injury occurred in a friendly softball game with Larry Bird's brother as well as friends. And here's Jackie McMullen explain this very bizarre and peculiar injury.
Well, he shows up, and who's on the other team but his brother? So Larry's playing out in the outfield, and his brother hits this kind of spinning, looping ball, almost like a Tim Wakefield knuckleball. It's just spinning all over the place. And Larry tries to go down and make a basket catch, and his finger goes all the way back, and he's like, man, wow, it really hurts. And he looked down, and his finger was completely dislocated and mangled, and, he really was bothering him. He had to stop playing right away. And so now remember, he's been drafted by the Celtics during this point, but he has not signed a
Similar thing happened to me, actually.
So his finger is in a bad way. He has to have major surgery with clips put in and pins and everything else. And
when I was playing football one time, I was running backwards, try to catch a ball. I was playing receiver. All of a sudden, it was on the slope. It was at a drive-in theater. It was like a sloping like this. This is really one of my biggest injuries I've had, and the ground was like this. I didn't know there was a hill while I was running backwards trying to catch the ball. I slipped, fell directly on my right arm, and I fractured my wrist. And actually, I played through like the entire series just until we scored a touchdown. I remember I caught a pass just with my left hand, got like 10 yards. But I mean, I ran out of bounds and everything. It was 2-inch touchdown, so yeah, it was all good. But yeah, I fractured my wrist, but pretty tough to play with that.
The Celtics, this has happened. But, sooner or later they get word, and they summon him to Boston, and the trainer examines him and says, and the team doctor examines him, and they say to Red Auerbach, this guy's damaged goods. Now, Red's like, really? So he says, come on, Larry, get dressed. So Larry puts on his stuff. Red throws him the ball. He goes out. He starts shooting from all over the floor. He's hitting from everywhere. Throws him a few bounce passes. Has him throws
this
a few
quality
overhead
is
passes.
terrible.
Said, you look fine to me, kid. And Bird said, great. But Bird to this day will tell you, he's never had the same feel for the basketball.
So obviously a pretty bad finger injury.
This guy's loud.
Affected Bird for the rest of his life. And around 2010, Larry Bird gave an interview.
The finger is shaped much like a boomerang, permanently bent toward his thumb at a 45-degree angle. 2 operations have failed to straighten it. He can bend it only halfway.
To this day, he's shaped like a boomerang at a 45-degree angle,
Man,
pointing toward his thumb. And he's had 2 surgeries
that's
that have failed to straighten it out.
tough.
But I think the most intriguing thing in that clip is that Larry Bird himself said he never had the same feel for basketball after this injury. And Bird, for his career already, was one of the best shooters of all time. He was the first player ever to win the 50-40-90 club, and he routinely shot over 90% from the line. But with that being said, Bird actually could have been a better shooter than he was in the NBA if it wasn't for that devastating finger injury. Now, next up on the Bird injury list, we go to his back, one of the worst injuries a player could ever have. And this injury for Bird occurred in 1985 in the middle of his prime. And
I haven't had a back injury yet.
I listened to commentators talking about how tough Bird was and how difficult it was for him to even play a basketball game.
Larry had 2 jobs his last 7 years of playing. It was playing basketball, and then it was him being committed to taking care of his back.
He had first heard it in 1985. building the driveway at his mom's house back in French Lick.
Man.
Larry decides to do it himself. This is Larry Bird, the superstar, out there breaking his
That's
back,
still a good thing to do.
literally shoveling gravel. And that was the beginning of a process.
I would see him on TV laying down, and then they told me that he had to lay down on planes, different things like that. And I was like, wow.
Ooh,
As
that
Magic
looked like right here.
things like that. And I was like,
This is like a really tough in your back. Like you're running full speed and putting that much pressure on your back right there.
as Magic soared through the prime of his career, Bird was breaking down, his deteriorating back and punishing style of play proving an excruciating mix.
From 88 to 92, it was painful to watch. It was painful to cover. Larry is quite ornery when he's not feeling well, which means he was ornery for those next 4 years.
He could manage the pain.
So when he was 32,
very few people can do.
If you get paid to go to work, you got to go to work.
It was a situation that he was seeing almost daily. He had lost the structural stability in his spine, so it would slip into abnormal positions to try and lock itself to get an artificial stability. That's like getting your finger stuck in a door, and
that's
somebody's still pushing on the door. So what we had to do was unlock his spine, realign it, do techniques that would
How do you do
hold
that?
that for 4 hours, 6 hours, that type of thing, and then he'd go play basketball.
So obviously that back injury was pretty devastating for Bird, and it kind of marked the end of his prime. But even with that being said, Bird in his last 7 seasons still put up tremendous.
So this is like during his time as his back was hurting, 25 a game. Man, the efficiency is incredible. 9 rebounds, 7 assists.
Averaging 25.1 points per game, 9.3 boards.
9 rebounds.
4.6
That is
on near
it's really good.
50-90 splits. Those stats right there from an offensive perspective are still some of the best stats of all time. And once again, show Bird could handle pain like few athletes ever. And one of the most remarkable things I've ever heard comes from Larry Bird's former teammate, that being Robert Parrish. According to Parrish, Larry Bird never took painkillers, pills, or any shots in his entire career. Bird simply toughed it out and showed mental toughness as well as physical toughness and played basketball
that's what I
at
do
high
too.
level for 7 more years.
But I mean, I can't compare to injuries that Larry Bird had.
Now, also one thing Larry Bird was known for in his career was being mentally tough. And here's a quick story from Kevin McHale talking about Larry Bird's mental toughness after being stuck down in an airport for 10 straight hours.
Back then when we flew commercial, we didn't fly private. We played in a Tuesday night game in Cleveland.
Okay.
And of course we got up for the first flight out. We had a game on Wednesday night in New Jersey. Snowstorm hits Cleveland. We're at the airport at 7 in the morning. Flight's canceled at 7. It's canceled at 8. It's canceled at 9. It's canceled at 10. Canceled at 11, 12. We finally leave about 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon. We fly up to New Jersey. Now the storm has kind of moved into Jersey. And the bus driver says, well, I can't get to the hotel into the arena. I can only go to one place. Well, we had a game that night. We go to the arena. So we get to the arena, and I mean, we're dragging. And we're sitting around the locker room, and, and everybody's kind of, we're tired. And, and all of a sudden, the coach gives a little bit of a speech of, come on, man, guys, we're playing basketball. Let's get ready to go. And Larry stands up, and Larry says, and a couple other few choice words, and he says, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to take it out on their rear ends. So I was like, oh, all right, so let's go. So we go on the floor. Elbert King sitting there. Larry walks up to Elbert King and goes, don't take this butt whooping personally. I've been eating hot dogs all day. And then Elbert King looks at him like, you've been eating hot dogs
I could go
all day.
for a
What
hot dog right now. Oh, man, I'm so hungry right now. Man, you know what? Right after this video, I'm going downstairs to get a hot dog.
And we went out and just hammered him. I mean, we
Everybody eats hot dogs at 9 a.m. in the morning, right?
There was no excuses. I mean, he just played, and I tell you, that was just his competitive nature. But a day when you fly all day and eat hot dogs in the airport, best thing was Elbert's look on his face like, what hot dogs got to do with me?
And that story
There's this hot dog place near my house. I'm gonna try.
But I think it still shows Larry Bird had extreme mental toughness.
5
when
minutes
it came to
away.
playing basketball, he would give it his best every single night. And I actually went back to Larry Bird's game charts, and I found this game from 1986 on April 13th. In this game, Boston beat New Jersey by 28 points. Larry Bird had 26, 4, and 3 on 64% shooting, and he didn't miss a single three-pointer or a single free throw. And what makes it even more impressive to me is this game versus New Jersey was the last game of the season. Bird could have easily packed it in and waited for the playoffs, but still, he wanted to play this game for his teammates as well as his coaches. And that year in '86, Larry Bird didn't miss a single game playing all 82. And if you compare that mindset from Bird to the modern day players, it's simply night and day. I pretty much guarantee you, any modern day superstar will 100% sit out that game and rest for the playoffs, but not Larry Bird. And when talking about Larry Bird in his prime, 1980 to '86, really before his big time injuries, he played 561 out of 574 games. He played all 82 games 3 times.
Those are incredible statistics. Like top 5 stats for sure right here.
He actually led the NBA in minutes per game.
Especially like the best availability is, you know, being there, being able to play the great. I forgot that quote or anything, but he played all 82 games 3 times. That's something that a top 5 NBA player can do. So
back in the day, Larry Bird,
I might put him in my top 5.
100% shooting up and playing.
I would put my personal top 5. You might not agree with this, but this is not the rankings for him. It's MJ, Curry, Kareem, LeBron. What I'm having a tough time is it Magic, Bird, or Kobe at 5?
Where he simply could not play was in 1989. This year, Larry Bird had severe bone spurs. He had what people thought was a broken foot, and he had double Achilles surgery. And back in the day, an Achilles injury can possibly be the end of your career. But once again, not for Larry Bird. As the following year, he had a very great and underrated season, averaging 24.3 points per game, 9.5 boards, 7.5 assists, while playing 75 games at 39.3 minutes per game, while leading the NBA in free throw percentage. So even after all those injuries, Larry Bird once again came back to all-star form, and he overcame double Achilles surgery. Now,
double Achilles surgery?
The last Bird injury we have is in 1991, and this injury is also the last great Larry Bird moment in the '91 playoffs versus the Indiana Pacers. And to kind of set the stage, in this series, Boston, they were heavily favored, but in games 1 through 4, Bird was not playing up to par, only averaging 18 points per game, 9 assists, 8 boards, on 37% shooting, and 11% from 3. And back in the day in the first round, it was a best-of-5 series. So game 5 was a winner-take-all game.
Okay.
And near halftime of this game, Larry Bird would go down with a severe head injury, possibly a...
Yo, I think that's what we saw in that last video, in the Ultimate Mixtape. That head injury, that's what it was.
Broken cheekbone, as well as a mild concussion.
Yeah, this is what we saw, right? So that was a head injury. Yeah, it looked like that, but when he was getting up, it was like, I thought it was like his leg or something. Ooh.
And Larry Bird is headed directly to the locker room for treatment.
But in typical Larry Bird fashion, he would tough it out and come back in the middle of the 3rd quarter.
And here comes Larry Bird.
Yo, I got goosebumps the first time I saw it. Oh, right now.
Certainly this out of the pages of Willis Reed in Game 5 of the championship series involving the Knicks and the Lakers in 69-70.
And in this Game 5 in the Boston Garden, from that moment on, Larry Bird would dominate the remaining 18 minutes of that game, having 17 points, 7 boards, and 5 assists, on 60% shooting, leading Boston to a 3-point win. And that Game 5 versus Heat, the last great Larry Bird moment as he overcame injury and dominated in that second half. So with that being said, that is the end of the video. Let me know your guys' thoughts. How tough do you think Larry Bird was? Is the greatest?
He's definitely one of the toughest NBA players of all time. I'll have to think about if he's like the top 3 toughest, because, you know, it doesn't really come off immediately in my head right.
Talker of all time, and where do you rank him on your all-time list? Let me know your guys'
probably number 5 through 7, anywhere between there.
Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, that was a good video. Good recommendation. 5 times Larry Bird was injured but refused to quit. Liked it.